Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the October 15th business meeting of the Council of the Borough of Ringwood. This meeting is being broadcast live and will be replayed on Channel 77 as well as YouTube throughout the week. Nicole, statement of complaints, please.
Adequate notice of this business meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this business meeting by consent agenda resolution number 2019-11, adopted January 2nd, 2019, through a legal notice published in the Suburban Trends issue of January 13th, 2019, and through notices emailed to the following named newspapers and posted on the bulletin board of the Borough Hall on January 7th, 2019. Their Suburban Trends and the Bergen Record.
Okay. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Martucci?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Here.
Council members Bolton?
Here.
Davison is absent. Ferretti?
Here.
O'Keefe?
Here.
Spear?
Here.
Okay, also present is Borough Manager, Director, Department of Public Works, Scott Heck, Acting Municipal Clerk, Nicole Legemeyer, and Borough Attorney, Richard J. Klimak. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, tonight we have a few proclamations, representations. Jason Orkin, would you get up to speak about the Hunger Walk?
Ringwood Hunger Walk, November 3rd. John and Sean, over here, hold the banner. The target audience is out there.
Jason, why don't you turn that mic around so that you can...
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course it will.
Grab a corner.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, guys.
I have two here, so pass it on.
Good evening.
We're ahead of the game.
5 minutes, no more. I'm Jason Oken. This is Linda Cohen. We are with the Ringwood Hunger Walk, and our Hunger Walk is going to be this November 3rd. What exactly is it? I will define. We are a 501 nonprofit. Our mission is to raise money for the local Center for Food Action, which is our local food pantry, which takes care of people and families in need in Upper Passaic County. What we want is money, besides food. We collect food, and you very probably have noticed that we're around outside the Stop and Shop and various other places, and we collect food. But most of all, the Hunger Walk is to raise money. Why money rather than food, or along with food? We get a, well, multiplier effect, multiplied by 9. For every dollar we get, for every dollar people bring in as donations, we get $9 worth of food supplies from the, it's called the, what's that?
It's a warehouse.
Yeah, but the name, the Community Food Bank, which actually serves food pantries here in New Jersey. So you get a lot more cans of beans and boxes of pasta. That's why we prefer to raise money. How do we raise it? We ask people. We hope people, and I know the LEAP kids have been doing this at the high school, and people have been doing it at various churches. We encourage people to get an envelope, and in the course of your work day or school day or shopping day, ask people for donations, cash or checks made out to Ringwood Hunger Walk, and you bring it on November 3rd, and we collect it and we announce it, and then we have a walk. Unlike other walks, there's no set amount of mileage or laps. It's a symbolic walk. It's actually rather comfortable walking around the high school track. We used to have the walk up a rocky hill in Shepherd Lake, which is more symbolic, walking up a rocky hill, but okay. We're walking around the track. We're going to have music from...
Just play.
Thank you. Right. Another thing about the Ringwood Hunger Walk, it makes it different. It's not from one organization, one business, or one church, or the newspaper. The Hunger Walk Committee is made up of volunteers who represent the various houses of worship, and we have gotten help from various other groups around. I mentioned the LEAP, the leadership group at Lakeland High School. The Chamber of Commerce is very generous with their donations. The St. Catherine's Knights of Columbus do a lot of the logistical work. Colwell Banker has been very helpful. So it's a community-wide thing, not just from one organization. Any questions from? Go.
One of the things that we have to remember is that all the money that we collect stays local in Upper Passaic County. That's one of the best things about this hunger walk, is that it helps people from Ringwood, Wanacue, Haskell, West Milford, and this particular area. If you put Ringwood Hunger Walk on your check, or any cash, it does stay local. They do not, the food bank does not have to give it to the central office, so that you know that you're helping your neighbors.
Any questions from any people in the audience or any of the council people?
Jason, the Borough Hall employees sent around your envelope
Oh, great.
already because we knew you were coming.
Wow.
We wanted to start off with a collection for you for $260 for...
Terrific. And you've even added it up. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot. If you wish, we have envelopes, or just come the day of the walk, bring money. That's basically it. It's actually, as many of you have been there, it's like a nice community fun day. We have music, we have speeches. We actually have a opening ceremony, including Mrs. Shaver, one of the council people. And it's a good thing to participate in, and please come and bring money. And thank you, guys. I mean, this is support from the Ringwood Council already.
Jason, the mayor's going to be calling.
I have a proclamation from the council. Whereas representatives of the houses of worship in Ringwood have coordinated the Ringwood Hunger Walk for over 20 consecutive years. Whereas the Ringwood Hunger Walk is supported by many individuals and organizations, including the Ringwood Chamber of Commerce, the Knights of Columbus, Lakeland Regional High School LEAP, and the Lakeland Regional High School National Honor Society. And whereas the aim of the Ringwood Hunger Walk is to raise awareness of hunger here in Upper Passaic County and raise funds to help these families, with proceeds donated to the Ringwood branch of the Center for Food Action. Whereas the Ringwood Hunger Walk will take place on Sunday, November 3rd at 1 p.m. at the Lakeland Regional High School, Wanacue, New Jersey. Now for there be proclaimed that the Municipal Council, the Borough of Ringwood, hereby proclaims Sunday, November 3rd, 2019, as Ringwood Hunger Walk 2019 Day in the Borough of Ringwood, in recognition and support of the hundreds of walkers who want to end hunger one step at a time, and to help achieve the goals and needs of the Center for Food Action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I do.
Okay. Next. Chief Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is this on? It's what? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the Mayor and Council for this opportunity to honor a couple of our officers and citizens for their actions in the line of duty over the past several months. First, I want to make one thing clear that was misstated at the last council meeting. The Wanacue Reservoir does not have a police force, for anybody that's not clear on that. They have a security force. We are the responders for anything that happens in the reservoir, whether it be emergency or criminal. The state park, however, does have a police force. However, their average response time is probably 45 minutes to an hour. So there again, in our oath to protect and serve, we are the first responders for anything that happens in the Ringwood State Park, whether it be a lost hiker or injured swimmer or whatever the case may be. So I want to make things clear on that. And to coincide with this, let me take you back to June of this year. We received an emergency call of a stranded kayaker on a Monksville Reservoir by the spillway. The kayaker was out in a kayak, had no life jacket on, and overturned. He was beginning to get hypothermic and tired. At that time, we responded with our officers. We dispatched our emergency personnel. Sergeant Chris Dupree was the shift commander at that time. He went to the boat launch, the south boat launch, commandeered a paddleboard, got rid of his duty gear, and paddled. And if you guys ever are familiar with that, that's a long paddle from there to the spillway. He paddled out with an extra life jacket for the person that went over. He was able to secure him and bring him close to the dam where emergency people with a rope could put the rope down and pull them both to shore. It was exemplary. It was something above and beyond. And for this, I'd like to recognize Sergeant Dupree for his actions on June 27th at the Monksville Reservoir Dam, rescuing a citizen who had overturned in his kayak. Sergeant Dupree. There's nothing more rewarding for me that in my career to do this, really, just recognize these brave officers and citizens. Let's go forward. July 9th this year, about 2:15 in the afternoon at the Stop and Shop. One of our residents, a 66-year-old male, had an episode. He collapsed and went into cardiac arrest. There were two paramedics on scene, Mr. Eric Harvey from Hackensack Medical and Jeannie Mullen from our own Ringwood Ambulance Corps. They began CPR. We had an emergency call. Our officers responded within 2 minutes, and they assisted with the CPR, and also, as all our frontline patrol cars have defibrillators. And a part of the defibrillator, it's not plugging in a toaster. You have to do everything right for it to work properly with the CPR and everything. These officers and the volunteers did such a great job. They revived this 66-year-old male. So in recognition for their professionalism, I'd like to recognize from the Ringwood Ambulance Corps, they're all the same, so I'll just read off their names. Jeannie Mullen from the Ringwood Ambulance Corps. Just stay up there a minute. Mr. Eric Harvey. I also have our very own Patrolman Jonathan Treddy. I just want to thank you guys for what you did. You saved someone's life, made it a little bit better for everyone. Thank you. I want if you will indulge me a minute, thank you guys. I just want Jonathan to stay here a minute. I just want to bring something to everyone's attention. I don't know if you read the paper or not. Sunday night, about 7:20 p.m., Jonathan, on patrol, was crashed into by an alleged drunk driver. He sustained minor injuries, luckily, thankfully. The police car, however, didn't make out so good, and neither did the other person driving. She wasn't injured, but we kind of arrested her, so to speak. Nothing upsets a police chief or a captain or a lieutenant more than getting that call at night. We don't sleep at night for getting that call that one of your officers are going to get hurt, it gets hurt. And it really, really weighs on us heavily, especially when there's a narcotic operation going on and everything else. So we don't sleep at night, so the residents of Ringwood can. Just so you all know that. That's these officers here. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Chief, we certainly appreciate everything that you folks do every day, and I'm usually on that call with you in the middle of the night, so I also share in some of those concerns. But thank you for what you guys do. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and in case anybody wants to leave for a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, we're back for a few minutes break. Continuing on, we have the approval of the minutes.
We have the business meeting from August 20th, 2019. Council members Bolton and O'Keefe were absent.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Abstain.
Ferretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Abstain.
And Spear.
Yes.
Okay. It's time for general public portion. Please get up to the mic, state your name. Try to keep it for 3 minutes with one shot at the mic.
There you go.
Good evening. I'm Joanne Atlas, and I am the chair of the Environmental Commission. And I wish to speak in response to the proposed ordinance number 2019-09. This ordinance sets forth to establish the Green Team as part of our municipal government with the aim of building sustainability.
Excuse me,
that-
can I interrupt for 1 second? Should we, there's a public hearing on this tonight, should we have her?
Is
talk
there?
during the
I'll
public-
wait.
Yeah.
prefer to wait,
I have
uh,
to miss
not-
the
it's not
debate.
long.
It's next. I just want your comments to be part of the record for the public portion, that's all.
What?
The public hearing on the Green Team is next.
Okay.
Okay, so you want her to
Yeah,
come
hold it
back
for,
up?
until after the public portion.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, fine. I'll miss the debate.
Oh, it'll be quick.
I'm glad Joanne went first, because she's just as short as I am. Good evening, Linda Schaefer, 54 Lakeview Avenue. I want to talk this evening a little about Governor Murphy's plan to cut state aid to our schools. Many people don't know that over the next 7 years, the borough of Ringwood schools will lose 41% of our state aid, which will be $1.2 million that will be added to our local property taxes. At the same time, Lakeland Regional High School will lose 60% of its state aid, totaling $2.9 million. Lakeland has already responded by eliminating the position of an outstanding and valuable member of their administration, which is very sad. Ringwood currently pays about 55% of the Lakeland budget, so another $1.6 million will have to be raised from our taxpayers just to keep the programs at Lakeland running as they do today. This will leave Ringwood taxpayers on the hook for an additional $2.8 million that has to be raised by the taxpayers, while the state aid readjustment will give Passaic County Vocational High School an additional $25 million in state aid. Ringwood taxpayers already pay for the county high school with our property tax, and we are charged tuition for each resident that attends. So I feel Ringwood already does its share for the state with all lost ratables due to the Highlands Act as the stewards of the reservoir that provide 2 million state residents with drinking water. So I'm here tonight to urge the council to pass a resolution opposing the unfair cut in state aid to our schools and restore funding for the benefit of our children of Ringwood. They deserve the best education, as does everyone else. Thank you.
I'm a little bit taller, not much. Paula Tedesco, 95 Upper Lakeview.
we're speaking a lot about the schools, and our schools are fantastic. And as a testament to that, I want to announce that the students at Lakeland are doing Steps Against Stigma, Stigma-Free Awareness Walkathon next weekend, Sunday, October 20th. And as chair of the Stigma-Free Task Force, I just want to give you an update about what's been happening. The task force continues to raise awareness about mental health issues and substance abuse in the community. Most recently, we have tabled at back-to-school nights and the farmers market with Lakeland High School students. During the summer, several task force members met with the DECA students and their advisor around their interest in reducing stigma at their school. It was my pleasure to mentor the students in writing their own resolution. I am delighted to report that their resolution was passed unanimously at the September Board of Ed meeting, and Lakeland Regional High School is officially a stigma-free zone. In recognition of World Mental Health Day, which occurred on October 10th, the students proposed staging the Steps Against Stigma Walkathon. And as I mentioned, it's going to take place this Sunday from 1 to 3 on the track. So you're warming up for the hunger walk.
Just keep walking.
I'll be at both. The funds that the students raise will be donated to NAMI, the National Association for Mental Illness. So please come out to walk and support the students in this endeavor. Also, the first in the series of Mental Health Mondays took place on October 7th. A Ringwood therapist, Susan Earle, gave an enlightening presentation about anxiety and depression in children. Next Monday, on October 21st at 7 o'clock at the library, Carol Maute, a psychiatric nurse practitioner and also a Ringwood resident, will present information about anxiety and depression in adults. Please spread the word, and information about additional Mental Health Mondays will be forthcoming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And here's the, once again, can you see it?
Hi, good evening, Jamie Landis, 15 Mohican Court. About 2 years ago, I implored the council, based on community input, to consider a weight limit restriction on Stonetown Road. And I'm so glad to see a resolution tonight. The residents in Stonetown would thank you for taking action and listening to their concerns. Too many trucks are flying on Stonetown Road. There are huge trucks carrying huge weight limits. We have bus stops that are located there. Kids are out. And I'm so thankful to see that this will finally be hopefully taken care of. Thank you.
Hi, Jim Martin, Marshall Road. Couple of council meetings ago, we had discussed the State Senate Bill 2022 and its corresponding Assembly Bill, which is A223, which provides for property tax relief for Highland properties. And I believe that the borough manager and the mayor were going to write a letter in support of this. And I was curious if the letter was indeed written and what feedback you've gotten on it from the bill sponsors.
I believe that the letter was written, but I would check, Mayor. And I will tell you, I haven't gotten any response.
Not from Shapizi or what, who are running this year?
I haven't gotten any, so I'll
You
check.
haven't?
I'll
I
check.
haven't either.
Jennifer Shue, 205 Lakeview Avenue, and I'm speaking here to represent the Green Team. So I'm proud to announce the Green Team has, their photo contest is in fact in full swing, and the photo contest will end November 1st. So I'm hoping that people in fact will respond with photo entries. The theme of the contest is Keeping Ringwood Green. I want to thank Scott for helping us get this going, and the rules for the contest are posted on the under events on the borough page. There are also flyers here for people who want information about the contest. The contest is being run on Instagram, but if people need help, we of course will help them. In fact, we have our coordinator for the photo contest will help people with their entries. So I do encourage people to submit entries by Friday, November 1st. Thank you.
Good evening. Mike Eidenhoff, 42 Woodland Road. Just a quick update regarding the Highlands Rail Trail with the EDC. Unfortunately, the Passaic County Department of Planning and Water Commissions will not be breaking ground on the Wanacue phases of the rail trail until the spring, which pushes the Ringwood portion back until at least next fall. The reason is the lack of state bicycle funding in New Jersey, and federal funds take longer to obtain. With this in mind, I'd love to know if it's possible to apply some or all of the Highlands grant money that we were previously awarded to breaking ground on the bicycle and pedestrian plan that was prepared 10 years ago, 2009. Not only would this make Ringwood more bikeable and more prepared for when the rail trail does come through our town, but it would make Ringwood significantly safer by getting our kids' bikes off the main roads. Thank you.
Rich Eversbach, 120 Upper Lakeview Ave. So, I got a question. Looking at the budget that's on the borough webpage, top right-hand corner, and on page 5, there is a shot for shared services. So, when I got like maybe a couple of questions on that. So, we're not purchasing any like services from other towns. We're actually farming those out. That's my understanding. And the total revenue is $138,000, which is almost twice the amount of what we collect from Fieldstone, regardless of how busy the businesses are over there. And there's no cost to the borough. Is there any other room? I think Manager Heck has kind of accumulated this over the years. I mean, how long have we been doing this? And is there room for expansion? And if there is, where might that be? Thanks.
Anyone else?
Seeing no one else, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Did you address any of these or no?
Yes.
In terms of the 10-ton limit, Jamie, yes, it has been a long time. But it takes a long time to get through that DOT process. And Jeff's been vigilant on getting that done, and we'll be happy to talk about that a little bit later. I'll check on the later. Mr. Martin, I haven't gotten any responses directly, but they could have sent it to the mayor. I'll check with the office and see if we've gotten any responses. I think the photo contest is also on the sign, Jennifer, also up on Skyline Drive and Facebook, and I think Jackie's got it pretty much everywhere. Shared services. We do purchase one shared service from Pequannock, from Lincoln Park for health services. We used to have a health officer. We now have a part-time health officer. Much more cost-effective to have a part-time health officer that's shared services rather than a full-time salary and a benefits and whatnot that goes with it. So, but other than that, everybody else on that program is we send our crews out, whether it's Bloomingdale, Pompton Lakes, Finances, DPW, all the other ones. We send our building inspector to Wanacue. So, is there room? I think at the last meeting, or maybe 2 meetings ago, I talked about we have to be careful because at this point we're stretched thin, and to have more shared services, we probably have to look at whether we would have to add employees and see if it would make sense. And I think what I said, and I don't exactly remember, but I'm fairly confident I said, we probably are at the limit with what we can do without adding different personnel. In terms of where, just about every department has a shared service right now, finance, health, DPW, building, most of all the departments have some form of shared service or another. So I don't know where that would be, but we certainly would explore it if any options came up. I know I talked about the possibility of us sharing a fire official with Wanacue. That was what brought the conversation up at the last meeting and the meeting before.
We also did some engineering also for Wanacue. For
Yeah,
road
our engineering
projects, so forth,
department
where
does a lot
we
of
had to be a
design.
part of a portion of it.
Correct, yeah, he does design for Wanacue, and we built him out for that. But we obviously will look if there's anything that makes sense, and as long as it doesn't expose us to more fees, we're okay with it. So I think, Mayor, that addresses those comments.
Addresses it, and we also, don't we help out the schools with anything with the plowing?
Yeah, well, we also do some internal, some shared services within ourselves, like we manage all the gas, and we pay for all the gas in the schools, buy that from us and pay us for that, so that they don't have to have their own gas services. We're now doing all the salting of the school parking lots, because there's no sense having a redundancy. Sometimes, we often will share plowing with the schools, if their trucks, but like this season, they didn't have a truck, it broke down, so we did it. Also, one of their mechanics is on the injured list, so we are gonna cover the schools for mechanical services in the short run, if they have something that goes on that they need our assistance. So yes, we do a lot of services, shared services amongst the schools and the in-town items. That saves us money. It doesn't necessarily bring any money into us, but so yes, we do that.
We don't really charge back because it's the same buck, right? Like we plow for them, but it's not like we bill.
No, we don't.
Because it's all the same taxpayer.
We don't charge. The only thing that we did do when we ran the water line, Peter Cooper School had a well, and by the time they pay our water operator and they pay their testing and they do all that stuff, it made sense to tie into our water system. Rather than having them have somebody run a water main into their building, we did it. We charged them for labor and costs, but short of that, no, it's all the same. Whether I build a school and the school bills the taxpayers for salt, that doesn't make any sense. So we just absorb it into our budget.
Makes sense.
Okay.
I'd like to respond also to a couple of the public comments, if I may, Mayor. Okay, first I want to say I share the concern about the decrease in funding to our schools. Previously, under the funding was based on a per pupil cost, so it was how many children were in school. Under 8 years of the Chris Christie administration, that formula wasn't followed. So when it came back into existence with the beginning of the new administration, it really hit a lot of schools hard, because this wasn't a gradual process that would happen yearly as you report the decrease, and all of a sudden it was a one-time hit. I agree we need to do everything we can to restore that funding, and absolutely would support a resolution to seek restoration, because it isn't any fault of our schools that funding formula wasn't followed for 8 years. As for PCTI and the $25 million in funding that is given to PCTI, I think it's a good investment. We've seen a lot of the automotive shops and the carpentry shops and the other beauty and different things disappear from our high schools. These are things that Lakeland used to offer that are no longer offered. The good news is that for every child we send to PCTI, it costs about $9,000 a year to educate. When we send a student to Lakeland, it's about $11,000. So the borough is receiving about a $2,000 credit, less money spent educating that child. And the really good news is that there are now 2 buses going from Ringwood, Lakeland High School, every morning off to PCTI. They've also offer STEM education. They've built a new STEM academy. It also offers our children in middle school the opportunity to go to school to learn about computer science, engineering. These are courses that they teach throughout the summer, so that if you have a child that's interested in these areas and they aren't able to see it at their local schools, they can go. In fact, my daughter teaches computer science at PCTI. And it's a great opportunity for middle school students across the county to get a glimpse of what that is like. Loss of ratables from the Highlands Act. There is, the Highlands Act, I'm really upset that we weren't able to get a representative from the Highlands Council here. Ryan and I had both requested in July that we have somebody from the Highlands Council come and talk to the community in August or September to really explain what they do to help communities in the Highlands. We have the Highlands Council because preserving the Highlands wasn't a partisan thing, it was a bipartisan thing. It's been going on since 1960. Both Republicans, George Bush, and the one that Mickey Sherrill took over for, Ron, I think it was, from the 11th District, a Republican, had signed in onto the Highlands Act to preserve 5,000 acres of forests were disappearing on a yearly basis. So they put that into effect, and also McGreevy put into effect the Highlands Act to protect the water. They recognized that this would cause a different way of doing business in the Highlands area, and so they formed the Highlands Council. And therefore, working with the Highlands Council will help us get over any obstacles to environmental. I'm glad that you brought up the fact that we did, as a as a council, ask our representatives, Shapizi and Ott, to support property tax relief. There is legislation that has been introduced. I'm really sorry to hear that we haven't heard back from them. That's important, and they should recognize that. They shouldn't be just thinking of Bergen County. They should be thinking of us here in the Up County. Bike funding. Thank you, Mike, for bringing up the bike and pedestrian path study. That's something I think we really should focus on with our open space funding, because I was looking at a property that was listed in Ringwood, and the rateable for bikeable and walkable was horrendous. This is something that keeps our children safe if they can bike and walk, and not only safe, healthy. These are things that we can offer our children and our community that'll make our property values go up, keep our children healthier, and also make them safer. And what more could we ask for? I think that covers most of it, but I am glad to see that we are doing shared services, and hope that we will look for ways to save money by continuing to find any opportunity to do shared services in the future. Thank you.
All right, in terms of the bikeables, the current grant we're getting from the Highlands Council is specific to the water testing and lake management. So that can't be used for the bikeable, walkable. But we can look at the open space funds.
We can, good.
The other thing I just, for Paula, with the stigma-free, from the adults, the biggest question I get is, what is it? They don't, it says stigma-free, but it doesn't say from what, or, you know, to the younger people, do you understand it? So maybe with additional signage or wording, we can get
I would absolutely welcome additional signage. We have some signs. They're kind of small, but they kind of fit. But, you know, we could certainly use more of them. We also started handing out decals to the businesses, you know, these little Klingons. And I go in and I explain, you know, to the proprietor, you know, what we're attempting to do and raising awareness. I explained that to them. And I said, you know, you're going to get questions because it's a, you know, this is what we want. We want people asking questions. And we're also doing, you know, the educational programs because education is key. But, you know, putting up that the signs were great because people are questioning, what is it? What is it? And of course, stigma, you know, many things are stigmatized. I mean, we are a stigmatized community, you know, with everything that's gone on with the Superfund site and all of that. So, you know, we know about stigma, but, you know, many things. Our specific resolution that we passed, though, we decided to focus on mental health and substance abuse, because it's huge. I mean, we could talk about so many different things, but, you know, we start on that, and maybe next year, a different resolution. I'm game.
Mayor, if you follow up really quick, if I may, bike funding, the Passaic County is applying for a grant to redo, they don't think there's any reason for us to redo our bike master, or transportation master plan. They're redoing a county-wide one. They think that that's the best way to travel forward. I think that the rail trail is coming this way, but it's quite a ways off. They're running into a few obstacles. But they are looking to do a whole county-wide bike plan. And when I talked to them about whether ours needed to be updated or what, they said, you know, nothing's really changed. The bike plan is really the same. And relative to the Highlands, I think the point that some of the people down county supported the Highlands and some of the people down in Trenton supported the Highlands because they didn't have the effect of the loss of the ratables that we have. I mean, from a Ringwood's perspective, well, listen, we're in the Highlands, and the Highlands is a good thing, and it's good for clean water. Of course, the Bergen County and the Essex County and the Morris County people supported this because they're getting the water. They're not feeling the financial effects. And I think what Linda Schaefer, sorry, Mayor Schaefer's just stuck in there from years. But what Ms. Schaefer is suggesting is that we're doing our part. And the state should recognize that we're doing our part to make sure that we have clean water, and we've absorbed those losses, and we've moved on, and it is what it is. But because we're doing our share to help all of them with clean water, they shouldn't be also then double dipping by coming back to us and saying, hey, by the way, we're going to cut your state funding. If that state funding was in place for 8 or 9 years, and now all of a sudden we're taking it away because of some obscure funding rule that they had, that's absurd. They have to look at the sum and total of what they're doing and say, hey, at the end of the day, what are we doing to these local schools when we're also hitting the communities of a small community like this and the Highlands communities with, I'd be curious to see what the other Highlands schools, how it affected their school funding, because I guarantee you, because as enrollment's dropping, they're cutting the funding out. It still costs us just as much money to run that school. You still need principals, you still need electric, you still need gas, you know, you still need busing, you still need all that stuff. So I think it's unfair, and but that's just my perspective. So.
Okay. Can we move on to own business?
Mr. Mayor, the first matter is an ordinance. It's ordinance 2019-09. Can there be a motion to read by title, please?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, an ordinance amending the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Ringwood, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to establish a green team and to provide objectives, duties, and membership. Mr. Mayor, the matter can be open to the public.
And also at the previous council meeting, we made some suggestions.
They're in the, yes, they're in the.
Okay, I'd like to open this up for public discussion.
Joanne Atlas, 177 Upper Lakeview Avenue. I chair the Environmental Commission, and since the Environmental Commission is mentioned with some responsibility in this proposed ordinance, I felt I should give you my perspective. It's just mine. So this ordinance sets forth to establish the Green Team as part of our municipal government with the aim of building sustainability into all aspects of municipal government and community life. That's our goal. That's our mission. The Green Team has been operating very productively for the past 2 years. In fact, the Green Team has already secured a small grant and achieved bronze certification for the borough from Sustainable Jersey. This is a very prestigious award, and it involved a great deal of information gathering and coordination. And I must say, it could not have been done without the cooperation of Borough Manager Scott Heck and Helen Forsa. I spent many hours with them working on the necessary submissions, and I and the other Green Team members are grateful for their support. But this is a fledgling enterprise, and it has taken some time for us to find our way and to identify those individuals in town who are willing to be part of it for the long haul. People have come and gone, but there is a core of people now who are really committed to it and are doing the heavy lifting. But, you know, now, so we've had a couple of starts, but we are now ready to formalize our relationship with the borough. And so a couple of weeks ago, a few of us met with Scott Hack and Borough Attorney Dick Klimak, and we came, at least I came away from that meeting believing that this Green Team would be created as an advisory commission reporting to the council. Instead, in the iteration before you now, the Green Team would become a committee, and that committee would then have to report to the Environmental Commission, not directly to the mayor and council. As chair of the Environmental Commission, I must say this would be a huge mistake. It's a chain of authority that just will not work. First of all, the mission of the Green Team is much more expansive than that of the Environmental Commission, which limits itself to environmental issues. For example, the Green Team itself has a highly energized subcommittee that devotes itself to fostering the arts in the community. The Environmental Commission would never consider involving itself in the arts, nor do its members necessarily have that kind of expertise. Second, the Green Team is pursuing greater sustainability. In pursuing greater sustainability for Ringwood, has as its core concerns about climate change, its causes and its effects. The Environmental Commission, which was created in the 1970s before climate change became the crisis that it is today. So climate change has remained on the periphery of that issue for the Environmental Commission. And the Environmental Commission has not developed any strategies for dealing with it. We're just not in that position. There is no consensus to move in that direction on the Environmental Commission. Third, historically, twice I have attempted to have the Environmental Commission host a Green Team, and twice it failed because there just was not enough affinity between the two entities. When the Green Team started to meet regularly, our meeting times were set an hour and a half before the Environmental Commission monthly meetings, hoping that environmental commissioners would join us. Only I and Commissioner Ann Seebecker attended the Green Team meetings. In fact, I am sorry to say, one environmental commissioner has even expressed open hostility to the Green Team. So why would you put them in charge of the Green Team? In short, forcing the Green Team to answer to the Environmental Commission would, I think, place a stranglehold on this young, vibrant, energized group. It would be most unfortunate. The rest of the proposed ordinance meets our expectations, and aside from a typo on page 2, it should move forward. Of course, taking out any reference to the Environmental Commission. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to address you. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Wasn't the Green Team originally part of the Environmental Commission?
Very originally, going back to 2000 and right after I stopped being mayor. It was, but it didn't work.
It failed, right?
Yeah, it just didn't, it didn't have the kind of energy. The people who were involved just were not oriented in that direction. It's a different mission. And to try and put them together would be a big mistake. Let this group thrive, give what they can, all the energy they have to the community. The community is going to benefit. You all will.
So for those who have not gone to an environmental commission meeting, what does the body focus on?
Well, water, pollution, things, traditional environmental issues. But the Green Team goes way beyond that.
My other question is, where's the typo?
It,
Tell us.
it's towards the bottom. I forgot, but it's there. You'll find it.
The thinking behind this also was because they couldn't meet a quorum.
Right.
Okay, and there was so many people that who was originally on there were not on there.
Right.
I felt that it'd be better more as a committee, subcommittee within the environmental commission.
But I think we have it sorted out now. I think we can have, we were too ambitious. So we said the committee should be 14 people. What commission or committee in town here has 14 people? We were like really not thinking straight. It was just that so many people showed up, and especially young people, that we got carried away and said, okay, we want 14 people. But then some of the young people moved out, they got jobs, it just wasn't stable. And then we reached a place where we couldn't have a quorum, even though we have a lot of people showing up at the meetings, but not all of them have been made part of the committee or commission, whatever you decide on. And so we have to rely on original members who have moved out of town. So it's just that the composition has changed, but we have the people. Scott will tell you, he's been at our meetings, he knows what goes on and how we are functioning very, very well. And the possibilities for the future are great. We have a bronze certification now, and we're going to be going for silver. It's there in black and white, all the things that the town has done, already done. So it's just a matter of putting it together. And once we have silver, there are many opportunities for funding, like big numbers. So for things that will make our town more sustainable, it'll be better. It'll improve the quality of life for everybody. And here you have a group of volunteers. We don't get paid. And I'll tell you, Scott knows how many hours I put into this.
A lot of hours.
And so I feel that it should be an independent entity, and it should be able to communicate easily with the mayor and council, and especially with our borough manager. I mean, he is key to it. So if we have to go wait for an environmental commission meeting, and then who knows what people are going to think and come up with, because they're not really involved in the day-to-day of what goes on in this commission, committee. I thought commission was like reaching, but I think it's a good idea now. And it's advisory, and I think it should follow the way the open space, actually, that's a committee, but I'd like to see a commission.
That's how we modeled it after originally.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were on the right track, but I think you guys, and I think it was well-meaning. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I think you kind of got off the track a little.
Mike Andrew, the original draft had the green team reporting to the council and the manager.
Yes.
But at the meeting when this was introduced, there was a motion that was voted on to change, that it would just be reporting to the Environmental Commission. So the original draft was as you explained, but there was discussion at the last council meeting to change it. I just wanted to give the history of it. So that was the draft that, I think when we met, that was the...
That was great.
That was what we had in mind.
That was great. You did a great job.
Except for the typo.
Except for the typo.
Which I found, it's.
Yes.
Okay.
You found it too?
The call found it, sure. I didn't know.
Joanne, I want to thank you for coming down this evening and sharing your vast knowledge in this area. You were part of the original Green Team that was originally affiliated with the Environmental Commission in 2009.
Not only me, not
Well,
only
Linda
me,
Schaefer was
but
part of
Linda
it.
Schaefer too.
Yes, and we saw that unfortunately, because of that structure, it wasn't successful.
It was hard. It was hard. It's new, and it's hard to envision how it's going to operate as part of the local government. It's one thing to have an organization, an outside organization, like a 501c3 organization that works outside of government. I've done that too. But this needs to work within the structure of the government, for better or for worse.
And to your point, that we're being very successful. In fact, I just wanted to point out, you had talked about the creative team. Diana Roth is one of the members of our creative team, and she has a studio called Curtains Up. Right now, she's working in Bergen County, and she's actually been nominated for the best of Bergen County. Well, Diane wants to bring that back to Passaic County. She was very instrumental in doing the programs with St. Catherine's every summer, with both adults and children. She's reached out to Ryan LaCourte, and she's working with him now to bring a proposal forward. So you're right. The Green Team is being very successful in the structure that we have now, and we've overcome the quorum problem. We met with the attorney and with Scott, and we've come up with a list of members who are always attending the meetings and are willing to be part of a new quorum that will no longer have that problem. So I think we should table this until the next month and make the changes that Joanne is suggesting
Well,
tonight.
the original would be good.
The original, we
As
can
it
go
was
back to the
very original.
For the purposes of structure, Mayor, I'm going to suggest that you complete the public portion. and then
Yeah, okay,
you folks can-
okay.
You folks can debate what you want to do at
Great.
that point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanne.
Jennifer Shu, 205 Lakeview Avenue, current president of the Green Team. I would like to thank Joanne for a wonderful presentation. She's really said what needed to be said. So I just want to reinforce that I totally support her proposal that we go back to the original wording, which was that the Green Team shall report to the municipal council and municipal manager and generally have the following duties. I'd like to go back to that original wording. And just for your information, if you look on C, so under following duties, under C, work with existing groups within the borough whose actions affect environmental issues. So changing the wording does not preclude us continuing to work with the Environmental Commission where necessary. But this gives us the freedom to work with the borough and be much more broader than I think would happen if we were to answer to the Environmental Commission. So thank you, and thank you, Joanne.
Anyone else want to come speak to this topic?
We need Ringwood open space funding and Historic Society in New Jersey Board of Education and Passaic County Open Space.
Thanks, Mark.
Motion to close then.
Seeing no one,
Second. Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Sorry, Mayor, for the minutes, it's easier if we keep the public hearings, the way they should be, so that Nicole doesn't have trouble mixing the council discussion items with the, sorry about that.
Discussion?
I see the virtue in the perspective that was raised and have no issue changing it back. The only thing I would say is maybe we just have it report to the municipal council, since we don't usually have advisory bodies reporting into the manager. That was part of the discussion at the last meeting. So that would be my only suggestion is to, we thought we were doing something logical, but we didn't have the full picture, and I can see where it would make sense to have it report in directly to us, and then make some line edits accordingly. Or I think just on the bottom of page 2, it would just say, minutes shall be taken of each meeting, and we could drop where it's submitted. And that's it.
I agree 100%. We have been given sage advice by somebody who has been involved with the Green Team for over 12 years, who's been the chair of the Environmental Commission and knows that commission better than anyone sitting up here. If her advice
Let me
is
just
to go back,
finish going
I
around
would
the table.
agree. Oh, you're going that way? Usually you come over here first, but go right ahead.
John?
No particular comments at this time. I heard take it up next month was the idea. But
Either that or we could go back to the original tonight. We
Are
could
these
propose
edits minor
resolution
enough
to
that
do
we
that.
could-
Yeah,
No,
it is
this
minor.
I don't think this is minor, because you're talking who you report to, who's your supervisor, or whether it's the council or the environmental commission. This isn't a subsidiary issue, this is a core issue, who you report to. So what you would do is, if somebody can, I suggest, you want to make a motion to amend that, and then we'll just have to notice in the newspaper the amendment, and then at the next meeting you can vote on it.
So this
Okay,
would
that
count as the
sounds-
first reading of the amendment.
Yeah.
So, if there's an amendment, it would be to change, well, you'll decide whether you want council and manager or council, or keep it as is, it's up to you.
Sure.
And then, I'd like to see it just be tabled in the new wording.
Would that be council and manager, or just council?
Council manager.
I'm fine with council or council and manager. I think we should change the wording, have today be the first reading, and move forward that way. I support it being council and manager, though, as opposed to the commission.
So we revert back to the original ordinance.
Correct.
Let's not lose any of the other edits, because I know we made some other changes.
The one that was sent to you folks at for last month's introduction.
Yeah.
With the exception of the
structure.
spelling error.
We won't, and the typo. And just so that I'm clear, we've been talking about it as a committee, but you said it had originally been modeled after a commission. Is there any desire to change it from committee to commission?
We modeled it
Pros,
after the
cons?
open space committee.
Okay.
It's an advisory board.
So,
Then you don't need an ordinance, right? Then
Oh.
you just have a resolution.
no, we want an ordinance for permanency, Joanne.
Okay.
Otherwise, this could be changed at a meeting by
Okay.
resolution.
And open space is set up by ordinance as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
All right.
But we had the introduction last month,
Yes.
right? And we introduced it by amending the ordinance last month.
Right.
So.
Well,
why
I
would-
know you again, let me explain. When an ordinance is introduced at the first council meeting, everybody can offer opinions, and then it's structured, this is the ordinance, and then it's published, that's the key thing. The ordinance that was published said that this committee will report to the environmental commission. That was core, so the public has been advised where this committee reports. It's a core point where they report, it's not a subsidiary point. For instance, you could have a subsidiary point that they will coordinate, provide management for the green section of the borough website and the borough Facebook or something like that. That's subsidiary. So remember, this was put out to the public already. So theoretically, thousands of people have read this and saw that this is going to report to the Environmental Commission. When we did it at the first meeting, nothing went out to the public. It was just the first, it was presented for discussion. It could be modified anyway because it wasn't even voted on. It was presented for discussion, modified, then voted on.
So
Okay,
do we
that's
have to
the distinction.
reintroduce?
What you're gonna do is, if you wanna do, you'll pass a resolution modifying this ordinance 2019-09, that one particular paragraph, and then then you order publication as amended, and then you have your second reading in December.
November,
Yeah, that's
right.
Okay? So if someone would want to, I can offer a resolution,
I'd
motion.
like to make a motion to do that resolution,
Okay, all right,
yes.
okay, all right, so it's moved that Section 2 duties be amended. The Green Team shall report to the municipal council, municipal manager, and generally have the following duties, subject to the more specific instructions or limitations. And be it further resolved that notice of this amended ordinance be duly published in the newspaper, the official newspaper of the municipality, as required by law, with public hearing and second reading. When would that be? November?
What's that?
It's early in the month.
Was it the 12th, Tuesday?
It's like the second instead of the third.
I powered down.
I'll give you the date. Go ahead with the roll call.
Okay, the meeting's brought to a halt. Okay, on
Just
November, to be determined?
Yeah, it's the 12th.
Okay, 12th, okay. 2019 at the municipal building, which time the public can't be heard.
Okay.
One odd thing, since you actually mentioned the Facebook, we actually don't provide for that under here. We only talk about the borough website. I wasn't in any of the meetings where that was
That's a
discussed.
managerial item anyway, so.
Doesn't matter, okay. Just wanted to make sure we weren't overlooking anything. I think the other thing that we have to note is under section 4, third sentence, minutes shall be taken of each meeting, full stop and strike, and submitted to the environmental commission.
That's a good point. I submitted to the council. And so the resolution will be so amended, okay.
As well as any other item that may be in here that we find after the legislature and reflecting as municipal council. We have a motion there from
Yeah, we need a
Councilman O'Keefe.
motion.
We need a second.
Second.
Wait, who was the motion? Ryan?
I made the
Kathy?
motion,
Okay.
Ryan seconding. Did you second it? Yeah, okay.
All right, so Mayor Martucci?
Wait, sorry. Got one more comment.
Yeah.
Last page on the top. We define a quorum as consisting of the full authorized membership. Next sentence, then we define the quorum as consisting of at least 4 members. Right? Should it be one or the other?
Well, that's what it is. That is the number. There's 7 regular members. A forum shall consist, we're repeating it, but that's what it is.
I thought it said the full,
Well, the full
first is
authorized
the-
membership is
The
7.
full authorized membership is 7.
Yes.
Is that a quorum?
Yes.
No,
4 out
quorum
of
is
7.
4.
4 out of 7.
Out of 7. It's just a repetition, to be clear.
It's a repetition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so it's clear.
I thought the first sentence said
Yeah.
that was 7, and the next sentence said it was 4, right? Very-
Well,
but
either
that's
one
fine,
would be
okay.
a quorum, right?
But that's clear
Either way,
enough.
it's a quorum.
Yeah, either way, it's a quorum.
We'll make sure that paragraph's
They're
clear.
both of those things are quorums.
Yes.
Right.
I guess
That's
5
what
of the
you're
7
saying.
members would be a quorum as well.
Well,
Correct.
the minimum is 4.
Just,
That's what we're
yeah.
saying. She'll have at least 4 members. That's the minimum. You could have 7.
If it works.
Yeah, you have a full quorum.
Okay.
Okay.
Do the roll call?
Roll.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
I just want to add one other thing. Joanne Atlas thanked both Scott and Helen Forsyth, but I also would like to thank Caesar and Jackie, Caesar from Recyclable, because both him and Jackie have done a lot to help the Green Team, and I want to make sure we recognize everyone. Thanks.
Okay. Next on business.
Yeah, well, we have an ordinance, 2019, number 11. Mr. Mayor, a
Yes.
motion to read by title.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Okay, an ordinance fixing the salaries and compensation of the police officers, PBA Local 247 of the Borough of Ringwood in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, subject to complete execution of the collective bargaining agreement 2018-2019.
Mayor, the collective bargaining agreement has already been adopted by this council. This is really the salary ordinance that actually allows us to give them those rate increases as per the negotiated contract.
Okay. We'll open up for discussion. Anyone has any questions on this ordinance?
Seeing no one, move to close public portion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, resolve that ordinance 2019-11 is read by title, being is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is hereby authorized to publish notice of passage of same in the official newspaper of the municipality.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2019-187, whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified the funds are available for the payment of the current bill list in the amount of $626,360.72. Supplemental payments in the amount of $2,628,949.61. And the merchant services fees in the amount of $153.59 be listed to the following accounts for a total of $3,255,463.92, of which the Ringwood Board of Education is receiving $1,638,061. Lakeland is receiving $915,041 for a total of $2,553,102. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
The next few resolutions are going to be construction closeouts and whatnot, progress payments. 2019-188, whereas the Borough of Ringwood received two proposals for qualified contractors for Coventry Way asphalt repair, contract 2019-09. And on September 5th, 2019, Haskell Paving was awarded this project as the low bidder in the amount of $32,332.65. The project was to mill and pave Coventry Way between Cheshire Lane and Nottingham. The borough engineer has submitted and recommends the payment in the amount of $32,332.65 for invoice number 1209773 for the work completed. Now therefore be resolved, the municipal council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves the payment in that dollar amount to Haskell Paving of Ringwood, New Jersey. All paperwork's been filed.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-189, whereas a contract was awarded to Marini Brothers Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $696,983.35 on June 18th, 2019 for the construction of Erskine Road, Lakeview Avenue Improvement Project Phases 1 and 2, contract 2019-2C, and whereas the borough engineer has submitted a copy of estimate number 1 prepared by Schwanneweed Halls Engineering for the work performed by Marini Brothers Construction from August 30th, 2019 through September 25th, 2019, and recommends partial payment in the amount of $126,197.15 for the work completed. Now therefore be it resolved that the municipal council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves this partial payment in that dollar amount to Marini Brothers Construction of Hackensack, New Jersey, subject to the required certified payroll records and monthly manning reports. And this is the culmination of 2 years' worth of projects. As you folks remember, this is Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 is 2018 project, Phase 2 is 2019. I know there was some confusion. I wanted to make sure everybody realized that this was a project that's been in the works for 2 years. And
And the funding coming from the DOT? or
funding for this
partially?
project came from the DOT for both Phase 1 for 2018 and Phase 2 for 2019. So some of the controversy that to the contrary is incorrect. So this has been a long-standing project. This is the same type of DOT project that we did all the way around Cupso Drive. We did the drainage. We did it in 7 phases around Cupso Drive. I don't know that we're going to need 7 phases to get around to Erskine. Cupso Drive is a longer road and needed a lot more drainage. But in any case, for your resolution this evening, Mayor, I offer 2019-189.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
This is a resolution for supervision of the same project, 2019-190, whereas a professional service contract was awarded to Schwannebeek Halls Engineering for the construction, inspection, supervision for Erskine Road, Lakeview Avenue Project Phase 1 and Phase 2, contract 2019-2, in the amount of $50,000, and whereas Schwannebeek Halls Engineering has submitted and the Borough Engineer has reviewed and recommends payment in the amount of $9,250, invoice number 33950. Now therefore be it resolved by the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood, the payment in the amount of $9,250 to Schwannebeek Halls Engineering of Oakland, New Jersey is hereby approved.
Motion.
I'll move it. Second.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay.
Consent resolutions, Mayor?
Yes.
Consent resolutions 2019-191. Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Ringwood here has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, now therefore be resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. 2019-191 is the approval of the actual consent agenda. 2000-192 is professional services payment for the water system computer modeling contract 2016-105 in the amount of $3,290. 2019-193 authorized redemption of tax sale certificate. 2019-194 approval of the payroll transfers for September 2019. 2019-195 refund overpayment of property taxes, block 734, lot 15, and 2019-196 approval of a voided check.
The, just a silly question. The water system, computer modeling?
Yeah, we had hired a firm to do a lot of our computer modeling for our water system, so that we're gonna be able to pull up, much like PSE and G does, and open up a screen that tells us what valves, what water services, what, you know, it's an interactive tool. We'll be able to tell when we shut this valve off, how it's going to affect different parts of the town, where the water's gonna go, what pressures it might create, what valves we need to turn to isolate water for water main breaks and so forth. And over the years, we've pared down the contract. We've been very lucky to use engineering interns in the summer to do a lot of our locations and a lot of our GPS type stuff. So we've saved a lot of money over the years. But every once in a while, we give that data to our engineering firm, and they then take it and implement it and put it into the program. We hope to have the model active within the next probably 5 or 6 months, so that we can actually use it in the field. But it's been a 3-year project. Very successful, and I think that we're getting towards the end where we're actually seeing the results. We mapped the entire town, we located the entire town, and so this is a payment to the firm for doing some of the work that we sent to them.
And you had interns do a lot of the mapping, correct?
A lot. Well, they
Very
did a lot
low
of the
cost?
locations, and yeah, interns, college students in the summer.
So we saved a lot of cost that way.
Yes.
By having them gather the data.
Yep.
The grunt work, so to speak.
$20 an hour instead of $150 an hour. A lot better. And it gives our local kids an opportunity to have a job.
And have experience in
Yep.
their field, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Need a motion.
Okay, get a motion.
I'll move it.
I'll
Second.
second.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
ready for the council meeting, the manager's report?
Yes,
I was stalling there while I got a little water. I don't have a long report tonight. I know you're gonna all be upset about that. The last council meeting, we talked a lot about how busy the fall is for the Borough Hall staff. There's a lot that goes on in the fall. Some of those items include, we've been working hard on the water billing and the water meter repairs to ensure that we can receive that revenue. We've changed a lot of our policies and procedures in the water department to get that revenue in. Our finance office had a tax sale for all of our 2018 outstanding balances. Our finance office asked me to go into that in a little bit detail later because people ask a lot of questions as to why we do it, and every year we go through this, but I'll do that in a few minutes. We've reviewed our water procedures and some of our website. We rehabilitated our Beatty Lane well. We're continuing to work on the new vacant property tracking, and I have to tell you that the ordinance that was brought forth, and I made a mistake at the last meeting. I credited somebody who's no longer here for that, and I don't know where that name got popped into my head, but it was actually Mike Hafner in the department head meeting that brought this program forward to us because he had heard about it in some of his classes that he had when he was trained for CEUs and so forth. And as of this point, and I see Terry's in the back there, she has up-to-date billed and received $145,500 in this program, and that's additional revenue that's coming into the Borough of Ringwood through the finance office, and I congratulate you guys for doing that because it's a lot of work. And also, there's a database when we have a problem in the home, in a vacant home, that we can go to, and we now have a contact information for a bank-owned property. How do we get the water shut off? What's the problem? Are the pipes frozen? And so it's a really good system for us. We have a lot of problems with vacant homes, and so it's good to have that database. So that's great. And many of you didn't know, based upon the number of calls I got this weekend at Erskine Road, but our paving program started this weekend. So I think I counted 52 calls at home, so I finally came in. So here goes. As I mentioned, Debbie wanted me to go through the finance department because she gets asked a lot of questions, and our finance department really does a great job at trying to work with the public that find themselves behind in their taxes or their water bills or their sewer bills, and they really try hard to keep the residents out of tax sale, because tax sale adds a lot of cost to them. It adds a lot of work on our part, and so they really work hard at educating them, and they try to do everything they can to assist those residents that may be financially struggling at any one point or another. But as hard as they work at it, we unfortunately have to each year hold a tax sale. It's required by law, and so every year we hold a tax sale for past due balances in the following categories: property taxes, past due water bills, past due sewer bills, or any assessments. Assessment project would be like if you don't pay your dam assessment fees for whatever lake you might live at, if there's a special assessment or a road assessment. If you get behind on those, all of those things fall into those categories. So those past due requires us to have something called a tax sale and put a lien on the properties, and it's required by DCA. And why? The public has said, well, why do you do this? Why are you doing this to me? Well, unfortunately, it is important because the other taxpayers, when the water or the sewer bills, or the taxes, they pick up the balance for that year in the past that hasn't been paid. So what happens is the rest of the homeowners have to pick it up. So we have to have a mechanism where we can receive that money. So we actually sell the bill to an outside buyer, and they give us the money so that we can remain whole. And then the homeowner has up to a year or two to buy that. 2 years. Debbie's correcting me in the back. 2 years to buy that tax sale certificate back from them before they go into actual foreclosure or whatever they might do. So that's the process. We had our tax sale on October 7th for all the past due balances for 2018, which was terrific, and they brought in quite a bit of money, so that's going to help. But keep in mind that that's for only 2018. We still have. I'm going to go through the water money in a few minutes because I've talked about it for the last 6 months that our water struggles a little bit because of the lack of usage that's going on, because we don't have to water our lawns. We haven't had the swimming pools going all summer because it's rained constantly. I think there was only 5 weeks that we didn't have rain this year. So after we do the 2018, that doesn't mean that everybody's up to date in 2019. As an example, the people that are 30 days past due, there's 15,000. 60 days, it's another 8,000. 90 days, it's another 29,000. So what this does is if we don't receive that money, it hurts our budget next year, because we can only budget on the revenues that we bring in from this year. Water operating, we've been working hard at the budget. It's a tough budget. 2019 budget, $968,360. Paid to date, $734,742, or we've used approximately 75.9%. Based upon my estimation, we should be about 80%, so far we're okay. We have a couple of long-term encumbrances that are outside of those numbers, but that's the breakdown on the water. It is important that we do get the money in. Currently, from January 1st to October 14th, we've billed out about 4 million gallons less in 2019 than 18, and as you can remember, 2018 was certainly a wet year. We're going to make our water budget, as I just mentioned. However, keep in mind that we can only budget from next year's budget on what we actually bring in. So it's really important to receive those payments. So I apologize in advance for everybody who's going to get a phone call from me or Debbie or somebody, but we get to this time of the year and we start calling people saying, listen, if you don't make your payments, we're going to have to either shut your water off, or in some way we're going to have to get you to pay those. Come in and make a payment plan, do whatever you can do, try to make some payments, because we want to keep people out of that tax sale. In order to meet our projections, we need to receive about $410,000 for revenues for October, November, and December. As a comparison, in 2018, for those same months, we generated $435,137. So I think we're going to make those numbers. But it is important that we pay attention to that. General current is in a little better shape. As of October 14th, the general current, the budget, $16,418,457. Paid and encumbered up to date, $12,175,349, or about 74% of the budget. It's still about 80% that we project it to be. So that budget is doing well. In considering, although I do have to buy a police car because ours was totaled the other day. So I'll take a totaled police car over an injured officer, though. So and whether they fix it or they don't fix it, we're not going to put a police car back in service that has been in an accident such as that, because sometimes they're chasing people at high rates of speed, and we're just not going to put that car back in service. In October, we rehabilitated Beanie Lane well, and I'm happy to report that that was a very successful outcome. Every year or two we do that. We had an increase of over 50% in specific capacities, whether it's water column or volumes. So that was very good.
What did you actually do?
We have something called an AquaGuard come in here, where they actually we decommission the well, and they actually blow CO2, and they open up the veins in the aquifer, and it kind of pushes back any of the veins that have closed down a little bit, and it kind of opens it up, and it raises our water column significantly, and it's a really good thing to do to well. A little bit more expensive, but you know, we have a great producing well there, so we do that every year. We try to do it every year. Sometimes it's every 2 years, but very, very productive. So I'm happy to report that that's online. It was relatively seamless.
How long ago did we start that procedure? 'Cause that was a relatively new thing that had come
Yeah,
about in the last six or 8 years,
I think I
right?
started about 6 years ago, maybe a little longer, but it's really a really good program. So it was costly in the beginning, but if you keep up with it, it's not as bad. So we run on reservoir water for about a week. We flush it out, we get all the CO2 out of it, we then check to make sure that there's no turbidity, and we check the chemical levels and make sure everything's good, and the chlorine levels, and put it back on, and it's usually 5 days. So. I know we talked a little bit earlier about the 10-ton vehicle restriction that we've been working on for quite some time here. We completed the site plan showing the limits of the weight restriction on Stonetown Road and the alternate route for Westbrook Road and Greenwood Lake Turnpike. Site plan shows other required information, including lane widths, shoulder widths. Additional information shown is horizontal and vertical site distances, number of intersections, number of schools, and so on. We completed our engineering report. We completed the engineering certification. We completed the required traffic counts for 7 days. We had to count them 24 hours a day for 7 days. We compiled all the traffic accidents on Stonetown Road for 16, 17, 18, and 19 up to October 1st. We received the required concurring resolution with the Borough of Wanacue, as well as the County of Passaic. The only item remaining is a requirement of a concurring resolution from Ringwood, which is before you for this evening. So, Nicole,
2019-197.
2019-197. This is Resolution 2019-197, whereas the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Ringwood desire to impose a 10-ton weight restriction on the entire length of Stonetown Road, and whereas the proposed weight restriction, commercial vehicles weighing more than 10 tons would be required to travel a portion of Westbrook Road onto Greenwood Lake Turnpike, and whereas the New Jersey Department of Transportation requires a resolution from the Borough of Ringwood concurring with Ringwood Borough Engineer's recommendation that the 10-ton weight restriction on Stonetown Road is in the best interest of public safety and the expedition of traffic, and whereas Ringwood has received the required resolutions from both the Borough of Wanacue and the County of Passaic concurring with our recommendation, now therefore be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby supports the request before the New Jersey DOT to rescind the passage of a commercial vehicle in excess of 10 tons for the entire length of Stonetown Road in the Borough of Ringwood. Be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution, along with the required engineering report and supporting documents, to be sent to the New Jersey Department of Transportation.
How is this going to be monitored?
Obviously, the police officers, same way we do, this is the same limit that's on Skyline Drive. And there's portions of Stonetown Road that have the same percent upgrade as Skyline Drive, so the police officers.
Give you a motion.
I'll move it. Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Mayor, before you in green, I have Resolution 2019-198. Be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby authorizes the payment to Mary Bliss in the amount of $284 for a property damage settlement. It's a minor dollar amount. I think it's in the best interest just to pay it and be done with it rather than going through insurance. So I have that resolution before you today, Mayor.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
198.
That's 198. I'm almost there, Mayor. For the past 2 years, we've been planning this DOT road repaving for Erskine Road. And as I mentioned before, it's the same program we use in Cupsaw. It's not normal that we pave on Saturday, and unfortunately, Erskine Road is a main corridor, and there's not many options other than, trying to close that road down because there's no other side roads. I know it was inconvenient to many people, but because there's a school there on Erskine Road, our paving schedule was based solely on the dates and times when the school was closed, so as not to impact the school. So that's really why it was done on Saturday. So I apologize for any inconvenience, but it's a much-needed improvement, and this is an improvement that's going to last 25 years, and I'm confident that a week from now, everybody will forget how inconvenient it was and be grateful that they're not driving on potholes, but they certainly were not forgetting it on Saturday, so.
Plus, we're getting close to the asphalt plant's closing, so you're not gonna be able to work it into one of the vacations around Thanksgiving.
No, it's hard, So we had 2 days, we had Saturday and today and Monday off for school, so that's why we did what we did. The next area to be paved is behind Stop and Shop. The DPW did all the drainage, the curb repair, the tree work, and the prep work for these roads. This includes Fieldstone Drive from Stonewall Court to Old Forge Road, Sweetwater Lane, Old Forge Road, Copper Hill Park, and Waterford Court. 90% of this project was paid for by the utility company, and I congratulate Jeff Uhas for negotiating that. They dug the streets up and they did some electrical upgrade, and he negotiated that 90% of this is being paid for by the utility companies. We estimate that paving will begin sometime in early November. They wanted to start on Halloween, and we are never paving on Halloween again. We did that once before, and that did not work out well. So that's the paving. We're currently in discussion with all the unions, the UPSEU white collar, UPSEU blue collar, police, and dispatchers. Since we've spent quite a few years working on the contracts, they're in really good shape. I anticipate there's gonna be very little to talk about except for cost of living increases, and I hope to have contracts for you to review in the November meeting. I'd like to get them done this year so that there's no retros if we possibly can. A reminder to our residents that the borough will be holding a flu clinic on Thursday, October 17th from 3 to 4 p.m. For our seniors and 4 to 6:30 p.m. for all the other residents. And also, on another note, breast cancer awareness. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you may have noticed some of our hydrants around town have been painted pink. This is to increase awareness for the disease and to raise funds for the research into its cause, prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and cure. The campaign offers information and support for those affected by breast cancer. I also ask you to consider sending a donation to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. I think that this is really a significant program, and I think we should all take a minute and see if we can assist them in some capacity. Trunk or Treat is Saturday, October 26th from 2 to 3 at the overflow lot at the Ringwood Public Library. I hope you all participate. Ringwood Recreation is doing it on the 26th this year, and I hope that all the kids have fun on Halloween, but I just hope that they're all safe. Mayor, that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, thanks,
Mayor,
Scott.
if I could, I have a couple of questions for the manager. My first question, I want to go back to the litter. I know this has been something that you're focused on, and I'm really glad that we are keeping it front and center, and that's why I bring it up again. You said you had a plan to create a community organization for the residents to help us clean the roads several times a year. I know at the last meeting you didn't really have that spelled out yet, but you were planning on sending letters out to all the organizations that you hope to participate. I was just wondering where you are in that plan, if it's written out, if the letters have gone out.
Letters have not gone out. We contacted the insurance companies. The chief has contacted the Juvenile Detention Center to also to assist us.
Oh, that would be great.
They're looking to assist the community in helping clean up, so we're trying to work through those details. As I mentioned, fall is relatively busy, so we've been a little bit jammed up, but we will get that on our program. In the meantime, the DPW's been spending some time cleaning up as well, so.
Yeah, I've noticed that. And I had another question.
Sure.
2 years ago, you said you met with the Water Commission and also with the county.
Yes.
In regard to the fencing. Do you have a list of fences that are actually owned by the North Jersey? I know that they've been there forever, since you were a boy, but do we know who owns what fences as a borough?
We brought both of the parties to the table because if the county doesn't open it, the reservoir owns it. And the reservoir says they own the water side and that the county owns the other side. We have to assume that they're correct. I don't know that for a fact, but I don't have a specific list of all the roads, of all the fences and who owns what. But
Is there anywhere where we can find that list? Is it recorded anywhere in the town?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, it's
When they
something
put
that-
the fencing up, did they have to get a
permit?
A permit?
They built these things in the 40s. If in fact there was a permit, I don't know where that might be. It might be in the Burdell House still, that it needs to be torn
The
down.
one
and
falling down that
and
side?
someday they'll do it. But, so there's no recording. Like you'll notice on some of them, like the reservoir at one point was saying, oh, that's not ours, and the county was saying it wasn't theirs. Hi, Mark.
Is there a meeting tomorrow night?
I think there is. We'll give you a call tomorrow and let you know, okay? But I
What
think
time?
there is. I
believe
think
it's
it's
7.
7 o'clock. Okay?
Open
Tell me,
space.
let me know.
I'll call you during the day, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mark. There are some placards on some of the fences, so there are some indications as to who owns what, but not all of them. And there's, remember, Ringwood has 150 lane miles of road. I don't know how many of it is reservoir, how much of it is county, but having them both at the table, it's one or the other. It's definitely not our fence, and some of those fences are dangerous because they're ballards in the ground. There's a reason they went to guide rails instead of those type of fences, so,
Okay, well, the reason I asked is I reached out to the North Jersey Commission regarding the replacement of these fences. And I know the captain, our chief of police corrected that there is no police force with the North Jersey. But what they do have is they have a traffic commission that's approved by the county to do traffic control. And I spoke with one of the executive directors at the Water Commission, and he said the county has approved for his team to handle the traffic, and they're ready to start work on replacing these fences. So he asked if we as a borough had any lists available, that's why I inquired, and if you could reach out to him.
who is him?
Oh, that would be Tim Eustace.
Oh, he was on the tour.
Yeah.
We sat with him and Todd Calaguire, who was the executive director. They've now changed positions.
Right,
And
he even
they-
attended Hewitt School, he told me, which I found
He
interesting,
did.
that he was a
Tim-
resident and.
Tim was a resident of Ringwood, and so he went on a tour with us, and I suggest that they start at the southern border of town and start working their way. We gave them a priority at that meeting, but I will follow up with them and.
Yeah,
give them
he
the
said
priority.
he would love to get started. He has gotten permission from the county to use their traffic control, and they're ready to start work. Also, while I had him on the line, I took the moment to discuss the litter abatement problem. And he recognized that litter is a problem up here. He's seen it, and he wants to do his part. He said he's going to make sure his crew cleans up all the litter along the road on his side of the fence, and he's also going to reach out to Freeholder Duffy to see how they can work to best ensure the litter on both sides of that fence are addressed. So I hope to hear, when you reach out to him, maybe you can see if
So
you
we
heard.
don't need to necessarily have a program for our interns and our kids in the school. The reservoir's gonna take care of the.
No, I
the
didn't
litter.
say that. I think it's also good to have a program for our community. I think community awareness, I mean, I was just up in Maine this past weekend, and there wasn't litter anywhere. This is our community, and I think everybody that lives in this community and works in this community and visits our community wants to see it litter-free. I think if our children, like when your daughter was a Girl Scout and my daughter was a Girl Scout and the Boy Scouts, where they all grew up doing their share to work with the community, and that little stipend, you know, they're always trying to raise money. It really helped to get them involved and to get them aware of it. And I think it gives them ownership of it, and it makes them feel that they're giving back. So I would never, ever say that we shouldn't move forward with that plan. I think that plan is excellent. But when we do have it, it's best not to have our Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts out on 5/11.
I
if
totally agree.
possible. So if we can get the North Jersey Water Commission and the freeholders to step up and do something, that's great.
So the freeholders and the
Tim's-
Wanakee Reservoir is going to be cleaning up both sides of the fence, and they're gonna start removing the fences this fall.
Well, he said they're ready to start, that their traffic control was approved by the county to do the work, so they can have their crew out there directing traffic, so there would be no cost to the borough for police, because that's a big cost to our
Yes.
community that I stressed we couldn't handle, and we have discussed that previously. And he said that that wouldn't be a problem because the county has approved his traffic. They're trained by the counties. You probably know more about this than I do. And they can supervise, and they're ready to start work, he said. He really has to clarify which fences are owned by the county. But if you had any input on that, now that there's plaques on there, those can certainly be started with, right?
Yeah, I
Right.
think that it's one or the other, and they were all at the meeting, so I'll follow up with them, and I'll.
And he said he did already do some litter control up by the Margaret King Avenue, I think. There was a litter problem up there, and his crew came out and cleaned it up. I don't know.
We had a contractor that we caught that threw something out of the window, and our DPW called them, and the contractor came and the whole team came and cleaned for a couple hours. But
Right,
it wasn't
he
the
bought that.
reservoir, it was a contractor. But-
Oh, it was a contractor?
But the
Okay.
good news, I'm happy that they're finally gonna move
Yeah,
forward on the plan
I
from 2
was
years ago, and
mhm.
we'll call
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I was really happy to hear that too, so if you could follow up with them, that would be great.
Can we hold rest of anything to the members of the council comments, and can we move on?
Oh, this wasn't comments, this is managers, this is something from the manager report from August, I just wanted to bring forward, but I'm done, so
Okay.
we can move on.
Yes, I do have an executive session matter. I'll recite a resolution. Resolved that the municipal council enter into executive session to discuss the following matter, the affordable housing litigation. Be it further resolved that minutes of the meeting be maintained and be available for public inspection upon conclusion of the case. The public is advised that when the municipal council returns from the executive session, it may take formal action on any matter discussed therein, or it may take formal action on any other matter. You could do this resolution now if you'd like, and then later on adjourn.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, it's time for the second general public portion. It's 20 after 9. We're doing pretty good, so.
I won't be long. Linda Schaefer, 54 Lakeview Avenue. Just have a few things. Today started, the book sale is starting at the library. They're collecting books right now, books and videos and tapes. So if anyone has any books, hardcover books, or even softcover books that are in fairly good condition, if you could bring them to the library, because they're collecting them now, because the book sale will start on Thursday. So please support it, because this is one of their biggest fundraisers, and they, you know, with that money, they can buy other things for the children's section of the library or other things that are needed. So please go out and support them. The second thing I have is the Ambulance Auxiliary is holding a fundraiser on October 27th. It's a wine tasting at Tree Tavern. It's $40 a ticket, and there's lots of food. It's from 3 to 7. The number for tickets is 973-962-7978. And this is one of the Ambulance Auxiliary's biggest fundraisers, because the money that we get from all of the fundraisers we do throughout the years goes towards the Corps for them to buy supplies that they need for their ambulances, like defibrillators or, you know, different things that they're needed at the time. Last year they used, or the year before, they used the money to make the bathrooms in the building handicap accessible. So, you know, please support the Ambulance Corps and Auxiliary. We're all volunteers, and we work very hard to do this through the years and we raise quite a bit of money. So in November, we're having a soup and sandwich luncheon with a small tricky tray. The dates will be on the website. Also, our fish and chips, which was in September, there was a little of a catastrophe. I want to thank the police department and the fire department for getting there so soon. What happened, Scott Mahoney from Tastefully British, his truck caught fire. And it was in the back of the ambulance building where there are propane tanks, and he also has a propane tank. But a lot of common sense, he disconnected the propane tank. They got the truck out, and unfortunately, there were some people that bought tickets that couldn't get their fish. But out of every catastrophe, something good does happen, because we then had to feed those people their dinners on Sunday, and we wound up selling like 50 to 60 more tickets than we would have. So thank you for your support. I want to thank the fire department and the police department for coming out and saving. His truck is demolished, but saving it could have been a real bad issue. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Paul Rubacki, 99 Edward Drive. I think two things. First thing is, I think I spoke at the last meeting about Skyline Drive, the guardrail. I think the situation's got more ridiculous. I guess there was an accident the last couple of weeks, and because the guardrail really isn't there, the car went into the woods, and now they pulled the car out, and now we have a stump on Skyline Drive. I mean, it's really ridiculous that the county cannot do anything. I've actually mailed a letter to them, because it's gotten to the point where this is more dangerous. If they just wouldn't rip the guardrail out, it'd probably be safer than where it is now. I mean, there's a section where the posts are pointed like a tank, a World War II tank trap at the cars. A car goes in, it could just really take somebody's feet off. I mean, it's really sad they can't do anything, and this has been there for years. Second thing is kind of the games the county plays. Councilman O'Keefe mentioned the VOTEC in Lakeland, and if you look at the cost statistics of those two schools, the costs per the state are relatively the same. We've talked about the municipality about reserves, rebuilding the reserves here, the reserves at the municipal level. Well, the VOTEC High School's reserves is a negative $30 million. Lakeland High School has $3 million of bonded debt. The game is at the VOTEC is the VOTEC doesn't borrow money. The two swimming pools, the beautiful buildings, They don't borrow money, they just draw money off the county. And so in theory, they owe the county over $30 million right now. So the thing is, their cost levels would go up even more. This is a problem. We all have a problem with school taxes and our taxes. I mean, the governor has told us if taxes are your number one concern, you shouldn't live in this state. But here's an example where the county is running basically an unregulated school. We have no say on what they spend on. It's a beautiful school, there's some great programs, but at the same time, it's very expensive, and that's all hidden from us. It's all part of this big check that we send down to Passaic County every year, every month. This is why our taxes are so high, because the school just spends money.
I'm sorry, I have two other things. The rabies clinic, and no one mentioned the rabies clinic, is going to be November 2nd. It starts at 9 o'clock and it ends around noontime at the Borough Garage. The other thing is, doesn't SLAP clean up our roads? Aren't they supposed to clean up our roads? I mean, we send all the money, all taxes down. Doesn't
exist.
Excuse me?
It
It doesn't exist. How come it doesn't exist?
Have to ask county sheriff.
Well, I think that's a shame. We send all that money down there and they leave our roads looking deplorable, their roads. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Jamie Landis, 15 Mohican Court. About 2 years ago, the council had put forth a conceptual model for a redevelopment possibly of our downtown. And I know at the time it didn't seem to be met with such eagerness, but I'm wondering what anybody's doing to try to generate some business down there. Some ideas I had: waive fees to commercial zones to enhance businesses, expand use in business zone to allow for more uses. It's just a concern. You go down and we don't have a town center right now that we can be proud of. And Ringwood is an amazing town, and we deserve to have something reflective of our community and something that we can really be proud of, somewhere that we can shop and a place that we're proud to frequent. So just wondering, at the time, some council members or people that were running were opposed to that. And now there's no talk of anything. We've been at a 2-year stalemate. So is something in the works? Has anybody thought of any ideas to try to generate some business and to try to turn things around for our downtown center? That's it.
Seeing no one else coming forward, I move to close the second public portion.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay. Members of the council. Rob?
I don't have any business to bring tonight. I just hope that everybody's safe on Halloween. Drive safely. The kids are gonna be running all over the place, around every corner. Be careful all day, please. Jeff?
Oh, thank you. There is some good news from the state I'd like to share with the community. The state has recently won a few lawsuits, and it has to do with sustainability. So one of the first things that we have won was a fight with the current administration to roll back the stringent emissions for tailpipe standards and fuel economy. This was a double hit to us for our lungs and our wallet by rolling back how much fuel economy our vehicles need. New Jersey, 46% of our pollution comes from transportation. New Jersey joined 22 other states to fight this rollback, and I'm happy to say we won that lawsuit. The second one is New York and New Jersey also had a suit against the EPA. and that was against the current administration's bill to roll back the standards for what they call neighboring, my handwriting is awful, just bear with me for a second. For neighboring states that send their emissions from their pollution that come to New Jersey, there have been regulations passed to stop that polluted air from rolling into the tri-state area. I was just up in Maine the other day. They had an excellent air quality day. It was amazing, and you could feel the difference. I don't think I've ever heard of an excellent air quality day here in New Jersey. Heard of air quality warnings. So I'm really happy to say that the state won that lawsuit against the EPA, and they will be enforcing the Clean Air Act that will force neighboring states to ensure that their emissions and their pollution don't continue to roll into our state, affecting the health and well-being of our citizens. The third thing was that Governor Murphy has rejected a proposal and fought and won in court to stop the Penn East pipeline. This was going to be a 120-mile long gas pipeline that was going to start in Pennsylvania and end in New Jersey. New Jersey is on track to have a clean energy, 100% clean energy program by the year 2050. This would have stopped that from happening with this new pipeline. It's something New Jersey didn't need. Happy to say, once again, the state was effective in pushing back all three of these things that were being pushed upon us by the current administration. I also spoke a moment ago about the Highlands, and I want to give, I spoke about a representative from the 11th District, and I couldn't recall his name. I just want to say it was Rodney Frieglingshauser. He was a Republican from the 11th District. He had led the effort to have a federal study to define the importance of Highland resources and introduce legislation to authorize funds to preserve the Highlands. This was passed, the Highlands Conservation Act was passed in 2004 and signed into law by then President Bush, and the U.S. Congress passed that Highlands Conservation Act in 2004 that Republican Rodney Frieglingshauser pushed forward. So it has been a bipartisan effort to preserve the jewel of the Highlands. I'm glad that we all are invested in continuing that tradition. That's it.
Just one thing on the Highlands. What was promised to us was that we would receive some sort of compensation for the lost value of the property. In fact, we originally received letters of amounts of money that we qualified for, that we qualified it for, the state did not allocate it. So the promise of what we were supposed to get in being in the Highlands never came to fruition from the state. And unfortunately, there's people that I know of lost half their value on the property, ultimately had to sell to open space, and, lost a lot of money. So the Highland, nobody still is addressing that part of the Highlands. Okay, and that's really what's got
Right.
many people upset.
Well, that's why this council wrote that letter to Robert Auth and Holly Shapisi, and I think it was Cardinelli, asking them to support the property tax relief legislation that was put forth. I'm sorry that we haven't heard back from them. I hope that they make this an issue, this campaign cycle, because I agree with you. That is something that needs to be addressed.
Right.
Yeah, it would be, I would love to actually see them as co-sponsors on that, since they've got Highlands Communities as a part of
Absolutely.
it.
Maybe we should
But
send
even just
another follow-up
supporting-
letter.
Even just supporting it would be great. Regarding the Stonetown weight limit, what is and I know it's just a ballpark because it's gotta go through DOT, when do we think that would actually come into effect? How long is this, like, a 3
I
months, 6 months?
would rather not gauge. I mean, it takes a long time. Look how long it took us just to get the resolutions from the county and Wanacue, and I would hope that, beginning of the year, we maybe get a response from them. That's not gonna happen quickly.
And is that the last step? Like
Yes.
okay. And
Then what
once-
happens after that step, we come back to this council and we actually pass a ordinance.
All right, so then whenever we hear back from them, another 2 months for us to just pass the ordinance. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. I know this is for next month's meeting, but I would definitely like to see us work on a resolution regarding the educational funding, and obviously include some language in it regarding the Highlands Act, and that we are already doing our fair share, and to try and take that into account in the formula. I think that makes perfectly good sense. It would help the community a lot. I would just briefly say, I don't have a lot, but I will say we always go around and round on the carousel of the Highlands Act. And I'll just say that the plus that often gets overlooked is the preservation of the town that we love so much. And it's actually one of the reasons why I bought here. I came from many places, but most recently Queens, Bergen County, where if you've got, 6 square inches of grass, they're gonna find a way to put something else there that's gonna make more money. It's happening in Oakland. It's heading to the DMV and putting up more houses along whatever road it is that takes me from Skyline Drive over there. And I picked this town because that can't happen here. And I think that that's what helps make us special. It's what keeps us special. It's what gives us probably some of the best air in New Jersey, if it's not quite
It's
Maine.
true. Yeah.
And so it does cost us, and we do have to get our money back, but I'm also just gonna enjoy what it does give us, and that's this wonderful community and quality of life that we have that is rapidly slipping away everywhere else. That's it.
Ms. Spear?
Yeah, no report this one, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Deputy Mayor?
I'll throw in my part on the Highlands Act area. Yeah, I've been here since the 70s. I grew up in West Milford. I've been here since I was born. About preserving the character of this area, West Milford, Ringwood, and so forth. But just to put a little perspective on it, that there are approximately 4 million people that benefit from the water that we're stewards of, pay less than $1 annually in total property taxes to all the host communities. That right there is the biggest telling thing. We're in a stranglehold because the urban areas that use our water the most don't pay their fair share. Simple as that. They also have they're the most populous areas of Newark is the most populous, largest city in the state of New Jersey, and they also have the best control over what's going on down there in Trenton. So, you can talk user taxes, you can user fees, you can talk all kinds of stuff, but until things were to change down in Trenton, we're kind of stuck where we are. I love the character, that's why I stayed in the area. I love the rural character of the area. That's just the way it is. Regarding the weight limit, I'm glad that's moving forward finally. I know we talked about how come it's been so many years, but that bridge, the old bridge, was significant in why that couldn't move forward. Do have some knowledge of heavy equipment and trucking and so forth, and taking anything over that old bridge was a death sentence, really. On the other side, don't forget, Sunday the 27th is the Cupsaw Haunted Hilly. They need runners. We had a Cupsaw board meeting last night, and they were saying that they're a little light on runners this year, so please come out and support it. It's good. It's a good, fun event, and don't be shy if you want to run in costume, they say.
I think there's a prize for this.
I believe there is a prize also for, so, it's open to everybody, it's not just Cupsaw residents, it's open, I don't know if, I'm not a runner, so I don't know if there's a certification to the course or whatever else.
There are people who walk it every year, I think. Is that right? Who walk?
I'd like to congratulate the volunteers and the emergency service, our police officers that we recognize tonight. I've said many times, the volunteers are our largest, most important resource in this town, no matter what. It was illustrated by the awards tonight. And building on what Linda Schaefer said, support the ambulance fundraisers, because they just recently bought their own ambulance. Instead of burdening the town with an expense like we do with fire trucks and other equipment, the ambulance corps raised the funds for one of the most important pieces of equipment in this town, and they bought their own ambulance. I congratulate them, I thank them from the bottom of my heart. I believe they're replacing a rig that is something around 17 years old or something, so that just shows you the testament of the dedication of some of the best volunteers I've ever seen. Thank you again very much, and please support our ambulance corps, our fire departments. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the bonfire, but I understand it was well attended. That's all I have.
Thank you. I have a couple of things. First of all, 2 Sundays ago, I got the pleasure of attending an Eagle Scout ceremony for Brian Hickey, who's formerly Troop 96 and then moved over to Troop 76. He became an Eagle Scout, and in this day and age, with all the distractions that kids go through, attaining the rank of Eagle Scout is quite an endeavor. It takes a lot of push and cooperation and keeping the proper attitude. Number of years ago, I participated with Joanne on Eat Local, and my thing is eat local, shop local. We just had a wonderful bakery open up in Skyline. We had new owner Chris had taken over Lakeside Diner, and we have many shops that do things for our community. They donate to our organizations. They sponsor baseball teams with money for t-shirts and stuff. So before you think of going out of town, okay, stay in town, eat, get a hamburger, use local hardware store, whatever it is, because when you go out to shopping malls, they're not the ones that are contributing to your sports or to your own private organizations for your tricky trays. And I think it's important that we still have people that are looking to start stuff. Now, I'm asking for an early Christmas present. This is my last year on the council, and one of the things I've asked for, in 2 of the areas that we pay the largest taxes to, our Board of Educations. But the meetings are not televised. You can't look them on a video script. You can't get even a verbatim tape to listen to the meetings. You can look at the minutes, which are really basic in terms of minutes, and Board of Education at Lakeland High School that has a video center and all this, it's ridiculous. In this day and age, you can use your phone to videotape. And I think it's important that with everybody being busy, okay, who's volunteering for organization, who's got their kids in sports programs or has homework, and one of the parents are working at night. Not everybody can attend a council meeting. Not everybody can attend a Board of Education education meeting, but they surely would like to see it on TV. And for us to be going into year 2020, and we still don't have Board of Education's on television or on YouTube, I think is a big mistake. Because you need to see what's going on. There's good things that are going on, many good things, but it's also your tax dollars that are being spent. And I would like that to be on my Christmas list for this year. Should I block one? The downtown development, uptown development. As I've spoken with my fellow members on the finance committee, this year we were able to pay down a bunch of debt, which opens up the next couple years to the budget being easier to handle. But the one thing we don't have is credible revenue, okay? And there needs to be a discussion with both sides of the aisle on some form of development to get tax ratables in, okay? It would be foolish to waste time on it because we're going to the Highlands, we're allowed to develop previously developed property. And if we take those properties and able to have a developer come in and put something in place that suits our taste for Ringwood, it will help our future budgets, okay? Ecotourism helps a little bit. But we're talking $100,000, $200,000. Because what's gonna happen is the insurance expenses, payroll expenses still continue to go up. And if we keep blinders on and don't hit the problem head on, we're gonna find ourselves in a couple of years in a tight budget constraint. So it's something that we have to open up some dialogue and look at it for what it is. Otherwise, your taxes are gonna keep on going up and up and up. Okay, the schools are losing funding, so they're gonna raise their taxes, okay? We always try to offset it with our budgets, by not increasing taxes. But then what happens, if you don't increase taxes, sometimes you fall into a trap because now you have your current operating expenses going above and beyond what your revenues in. So it's something that's got to be open for discussion. I know there's people against it, people for it. Something's got to happen to bring revenue in. And when we're talking revenue, 50 to 100,000, I'm not talking about having a cannabis farm or cannabis store. I'm talking about something that will add to the value of Ringwood with some rateable housing and mixing with the shops on the currently developed properties that we have. But I wouldn't waste any time on it. Other than that, I wish everyone a happy Halloween.
To executive session, Mayor?
Yes.
Executive? Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I think we did that resolution, right?
We did resolution.
Yep.